Hey designers, have you ever felt like a failure? Yeah, me too. But you know what? Congratulations, you're doing your job. Let's talk about that. Hey there, I'm John Diallo, and I'm here to help you improve your design and creative abilities, and in this case, help you overcome your fear of failure. Let's get into it. Fear of failure. Let's just be honest. We all have it. We all struggle with this one. Whether it shows itself in the inability to take the next step, or whether you're struggling with imposter syndrome, or however it might manifest, it's there and we almost always deal with it. But I think it's important for designers and the design discipline at large to understand what failure is and why it's actually a very good thing and why it can be powerful as part of our process and as part of our understanding of the solution and the problem that we're dealing with. All right, so let's just take a minute. We're going to diagram this out because it helps us to think clearly and to see clearly when we do this. So imagine a soccer field. There are two goals, one on one side and one on the other. If you know anything about soccer, you know that one team's trying to score on one goal and one team's trying to score in the other goal. And they have to move the ball from one side to the other. Now, this is a fantastic metaphor because if we don't know where the boundaries of the field are, we're pretty much guessing. And so there's a safe space that we can kind of look at in the middle here where we can keep the ball, but it also becomes the most congested space. It also is probably a space that is most expected and least exciting. We can begin sort of exploring outside that space, but we really don't know where the boundary is until we accidentally go over that line. And then the referee is going to wave the flag, they're going to tweet their little whistle and say, "You're out of bounds," and it's time to throw the ball in. Hey, that's wonderful and that's great because now you have a data point. You might look at it and say, "Darn it, I went out of bounds. I can't believe I did that." Well, let's not think that way. Let's actually look at it this way. Now you know where the boundary marker is. You have a data point to understand, don't go past that line again because that's where failure actually happens. Failure in this case isn't actually a bad thing, it's a good thing. It's a clarifying thing. It helps you know that's where the edge is. That's where things no longer work. And so if you do this enough, you might hit a boundary marker on the top side of the field in a different spot. And you might hit a boundary marker on the bottom side of the field. You might hit boundary markers in the corner. Wherever you're at though, now you're starting to build an understanding of where the solution space actually lives. You're understanding the shape of the problem more, so you can begin running plays inside that field and begin winning and begin scoring. That's the power of failure. Failure is not actually a bad thing. I like to think about it as the creative edge. You're exploring what is actually on the fringes. And the reason that's important is that that's where innovation begins to live. That's where you can start doing different things. Whether it's big I innovation or whether it's little I innovation, that's where the creativity is going to come in. And that's where we're going to be able to wow people and change things and ship new features in new ways and new experiences that people are delighted by and are excited to experience. So maybe you still think that failure is a bad thing and we shouldn't do it. Well, let's talk a little bit about some statistics in failure. I've got a couple cases I want to explore with you. All right, so the first designer I want to talk about is Stephen Osnett, and he spent 17 years and 35 prototypes trying to perfect the Ziploc bag. That means he tried it 34 times before he actually succeeded in accomplishing his goal and solving the problem that the Ziploc bag has become world-renowned for. So failure was part of his job. So the second person I want to talk about is Norman Larson. And if you are in the automotive or in the mechanical industry, you might know his name or his product, WD-40. And WD-40 failed 39 times before he got the 40th formula that actually worked. So again, failure, part of Norman's job. All right, and this one is really famous, Thomas Edison. And he didn't even invent the light bulb, but he just made an actual working product that was saleable. He tried 3,000 times, 3,000 different solutions before he actually came up with one that worked and one that was saleable. Again, failure was part of his job. And the last one, which is probably one of the most encouraging ones, is the world-renowned James Dyson. He was trying to create a bagless vacuum, and he tried for over 15 years and 5,000 prototypes before he landed one that actually worked and was successful. And all these people were considered wildly successful, but they also had a wild amount of failure. Failure is part of the job of a designer to understand what does and doesn't work. And these people persevered in the face of lots of failure before they actually got something that worked well and was successful. So failure is actually a good thing. And failure can become too catastrophic, but that's why we have design. Now, you might sit back and say, whoa, hang on, John. Failure's not good, because failure is going to tank the company. Failure is going to destroy the experience. Failure is going to ruin things. Yeah, that can happen. But that's part of our job as designers, is to fail in our designs and in our assessment of them, in our testing of them before they actually hit market. We reduce that risk by doing the exploration up front and not in the actual product experience itself. Yes, it's always important to get your experiences in front of people and to test them. And yes, I 100% believe that without people actually experiencing it in the real world with real users solving real problems, you can't actually judge whether it's viable or not. But in our design work leading up to that, we can actually mitigate much of that risk by experiencing that failure early and experiencing it often. And the more often we experience that failure, the more likely we are to actually understand where to go with our design work in a way that works. It's very much of a way-finding approach that is extremely powerful in design. And people like Bill Buxton have talked about that, and I'll leave a link to the description of one of his videos where he explains that. At the end of the day, failure is actually part of your job. If we're not doing failure as designers, if we're not looking at designs that don't work, it's hard for us to judge what does work, and it's hard for us to explore the space adequately to know the best kinds of solutions. So the next time you fail, remember the soccer field. Remember the idea of exploring the boundary markers. Remember that it's the creative edge that you need to understand so that you can know what the shape of the problem actually is, so you can craft a solution that fits within that problem space. Failure is tough, and it's difficult to deal with, but it's part of our job, so be encouraged when it happens and not discouraged. I hope this outlook then is helpful for you, and if it has been helpful, please hit that like button because it helps me know really what's resonating with you and what's been important as part of your growth as a designer. If you want more content to help you grow your design and creative abilities, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we got plenty more videos and plenty more articles that'll be coming up to help you. And if you want to learn more about the idea of big I innovation or little I innovation, go ahead and click that video there. I'll tell you a little bit more about how we understand big I and little I innovation. Or if you want to learn more about exploring the problem and solution space together, you can check out that video there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your support. Make sure to leave a comment below and tell me how this video has been helpful. I hope you have a great day. Go make something awesome.